start jumping in by saying as you can hear, we're in the world of Harry Potter, or very, very close by. What was your reaction to actually going through there and seeing it firsthand?
It was pretty insane. I think like everyone else who first walks into it is just mouth wide open, don't know what to make of the whole thing, because when we heard that they were actually going to make the Wizarding World, we thought that, okay, yeah, it's going to be a building with a Harry Potter sticker on the side of it, but in fact it's absolutely incredible. It's really full detail. It's great to be able to come here and see it again.
Have you guys drank the butterbeer?
Yeah.
And how does it compare to the ones you had on set?
It was good. It was good. I suppose the frozen butterbeer is better because we've been here before in like June, July time, so it's been 110 some days. So frozen butterbeer is great.
Someone was saying that to me yesterday. What is are you able to walk around at all in the Wizarding World, or can you have to be shuffled in and then immediately taken out?
It depends on what time of day. Like we wouldn't be able to go in now because I think anywhere else in the park we could get by, but in the Wizarding World, because everyone's there knows, not maybe everyone, but I'd say 99% have seen the movies, and maybe 99% of those people that know a lot about it. So we're kind of duck and run a couple of times when we're in there.
Now, the first thing I thought of, I walked through it last night. I knew you guys were going to be here today. The thing that I thought would be just a great gag, especially for little kids, would be if you two actually worked in your store and we're working there for an hour or two and just do you know what I mean? Because it's very...
I've got to admit, when we were waiting around to do some interviews earlier today, so we were waiting around the back of the store for about an hour, and I thought, yeah, that would be quite good. Just stand, put a name badge on and just stand there, see if anyone clocks on. It would probably be quite funny.
Because your guys' store is one of the places, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's not actually our store, but I know it's still essentially a joke shop, so it's quite funny to we have actually said to some of the guys who are going, this little lad saw me yesterday, and he could only be about 10 or 11, and he was very confident. I come in thinking, I wish I was that confident when I was your age, man. But I said he said, I want to go to Zonko's, but what should I get? And I said, well, get the what else to get? I can't remember now. There's so much stuff in there. But I told him something to go the tongue, which blows up. I said, it'll probably freak your parents out, and I think he did. I think he bought it and out of his own pocket money, and he just sat there and his tongue expanded kind of thing. So that's pretty funny to watch.
You're not a good influence on kids. Obviously, you guys have been a part of the biggest franchise in movie history, and I would imagine that it's very hard to be anonymous no matter where you go. What's the furthest you've been where you've been recognized, and what is it like to be a part of such a monstrous worldwide phenomenon?
I mean, when we've gone away without publishing it, it's just on vacation. I was in Mexico a couple of years ago, and I was just swimming in the Gulf, as you do, and this lady came over, just swam over. She was in her mid-40s or something, and she was like, are you in Harry Potter? Literally bobbing around, and I was like, yeah, and she's like, oh cool, and then just swam back. So it's that's pretty surreal.
For me, it's always odd when we go to non-English speaking countries and people still get it, and you hear them speaking their native tongue, and then you hear friend George look over. So it's quite surreal when it's like that.
You did the 7 films. When you think back on each of them, is there a memory from each film, one thing that you sort of remember from each one, or is it sort of all a blur at this point?
We could put borders as in, or chapters in for the 10 years, so we remember parts of each movie, but they all kind of bleed into one big shooting process when we think about things that happened offset in that respect. But we can still, if say name something what happened from number 1, number 2, number 3, we could tell you what happened, at least one story from each.
So when I did the set visit, the thing that struck me the most, and if you guys don't mind talking about it, was the cafeteria where everyone ate. It was so unique for me. I've done so many set visits, and I've never seen a whole cast with all the actors, and everyone's sitting around, and I saw Alan Rickman in Snape costume just eating with other people, and it was just so different.
Yeah.
And amazing. Can you sort of talk about what it was like to eat in that cafeteria with everyone around and, you know, the crew and the cast and everyone just intermingling?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing, like, the cafeteria wasn't a fancy cafeteria at all. It was like going to a factory, really, and you got the cafeteria for everybody.
It's better than factory food cafeteria.
Yes.
Let's just make that
But
clear.
it was very much like walking, and I think that's the thing with Pots, that everyone's in it together type thing. There was no, you know, them and us type way about it. Everyone knew each other, you could talk to each other off it, which is great to be able to work in that environment, you know.
No, totally. Well, also, they had these closets, like these dressers
big
with all the
trunks,
with all the props and stuff. Could you sort of just, for people that were not able to go, can you sort of talk about like what it was like there and all the props you had on display and, you know?
Yeah, basically it was like a normal cafeteria, and like you say, everyone would just queue up or line up to get their food. Like, it wasn't like if you were an actor you went to the front kind of thing. Like, everyone waited in line, and yeah, around the cafeteria, because it's quite a big place, there was, like I say, these quite big boxes with about 10 or 11 items from the movies, which kind of summed up the movie all in one box. And it was quite cool that it showed that those things don't just get sent out to the public and to like kind of flog the movies, but it's kind of like an in-house kind of memory jog for everyone who worked there as well.
Obviously on the 7 films there's going to be deleted scenes, some of which have been included in the Blu-ray DVD releases, some of which I would imagine have not. Were there any scenes that you guys did in the 7 films that you really remember that have still never been released, that you filmed?
Not that we filmed. There were some scenes which were written, which for one reason or another never got to be made, which is a bit upsetting. But at the same time, it didn't take anything away from the film, because it made it still such a great movie. But like you said, I don't really know what.
Well, there was one or two from the first 2 movies at King's Cross Station where we did a few mess about things, really, which never quite made it onto the film, I suppose, for timing, because the first 2 movies were like 3 hours each or something. But hopefully one day those things will come to surface, because some of them were quite funny.
I think the mess-ups would be good. Like the problem, like they'd be good too. I don't know if everyone would look very professional when it's being shown, but I think they're always feeling like the outtakes. So that'd be good too.
There's obviously camaraderie that comes from all the actors working together over all these films. Could you sort of talk about the environment of working with everyone and, you know, all the other actors, not necessarily Daniel and, you know, but just everybody?
It was like we were one big group. Like, I won't say gang, but it's not like we went and took over other places. Like, we were like just a big unit of mates, and any new member of the cast who came in throughout the series, they just came, like they joined in, and we just hung out. I think that's what made it so easy filming, is that like 9 months shooting a movie is a long time, but when you get on with everyone who's working there, not just the cast but the crew as well, and you share experiences, and especially the adult actors, they were very keen to pass on their advice to you, not just their acting advice, but how to behave offset as well, and I think that's what made it quite just a unique place to be.
And also on the last week when we were all filming together, we all, the guys who had been on the films for the longest, like the younger guys, we actually went around to Emma Watson's place in London, and we had a big dinner, and we just spoke about everything what we'd done over the years. It was really nice, and it was one of those things where it wasn't no cameras, there was no cameras recording or anything. It's a very personal thing, and that really it was really good actually for everyone, I think, who was involved in such a long process.
I think we decided what we all talked about there, we wouldn't talk about outside of it, so it kept that in-house kind of feel to it as well.
Totally. I would imagine over the course of the decade you guys were making these films, there were pranks on set. What was the best, or some of the best pranks that you guys were involved with or heard about?
There was a few. I mean, there was one that we did. A makeup girl tried to convince me about something. I can't remember what that. It was quite minor, but I thought, right, okay, get you back. So basically developed a thing where we could admit to her that she owed £1,000 to a car company. And we got a lot of people in on this. Joe recorded it, and so pranks like that were always quite good fun, because we do get bored when we're filming if you're not filming anything.
Well, not just filming, but pranks. Like when we came for the official, like the grand opening of the Wizarding World last year, we were able to bring a guest for this, and I brought my mate Anthony, who just happens to be Rupert's double in the movies. So we're all stuck. Like, he was just hanging around, like as we're doing, like we're on a platform. we were being filmed, and there was like quite a crowd gathered around us to listen in, kind of thing. And I saw Anthony like in the background, but his back was turned looking this way, so away from everyone. And I turned around and said, "Everyone, there's Rupert Grint, run!" And you just see Anthony then like look, you see all these people running, and just like legged it. It was so funny to see. This guy had no idea with about 400 people running after him around Universal.
Booing.
Doing it because he was running.
That's great. I have to wrap with the two of you, but congrats on everything, and super happy to see you guys again. Let me hit stop.